Yes, sir.
Hey guys! Welcome back! We are
Hey!
episode 2 of our podcast or slash vodcast. Are going to be discussing episode 6, Desert Comes the Stranger. So sobrang daming kinilig dito. I think a lot of our friends were posting it's from after watching it and could really feel the hype around this episode. But, of course, it's going to be the naysay. We're gonna find out who among these
Of
three
course.
nerds will have will have
Woo.
a different take on the episode. Hi, I'm Mark.
I'm Justin,
And I'm Tristan.
and we are the Vodcasters.
The
I'm short on that.
Vodcasters.
So just a segue. If you remember last week, we were talking about how the Jakks specific figures have gone up in price lately. And I was fast forward to this week. I was browsing through Facebook Market, and look what I got.
Yo!
Yeah, I finally found it for a cheap price in Facebook Market. So happy.
Yeah.
And I got it
Nice.
few seconds before the book of BOBA FETT dropped, so you could just imagine my excitement when I saw these guys showing up again.
I wonder
Live
how
action.
much
Super
more it
cool.
costs
Exciting.
now after they got featured.
Yeah, I know. I was actually worried that the seller won't give it to me after he sees the episode.
How about you, Tris? What do you have to show for us?
Spoilers, but this one I haven't really showed it much, but this one I got
Ah,
recently. It's
classic.
Luke Skywalker's lightsaber from Return of the Jedi. So
That's
Uh,
classic.
I've been wanting something screen accurate for a long time, and I finally got it. And yeah, if you guys don't know, I'm also wearing my old Luke costume. Just
that turns
for the
out,
Oh,
show.
right?
sports coat.
Yeah, it does. Did you really think it was a sports coat? Yeah, it's a
I thought it was sports
Neopixel. It's a Neopixel blade,
Right.
so it turns on and
There we
everything.
go. That's a classic.
So yeah,
We love that the lightsaber. Yeah.
My sh-
Yep.
my-
How about you,
my
Mark?
show
What'd you
and
get?
tell is going to be featured preview show for episode 7. Ayan.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Alright.
Well,
Spoiler alert, guys.
The remnants of my earlier version of my collection. Okay, so let's move on to discussing the episode. I'll start. So we start the episode with Filoni bringing us back to Mospelgo, where we see our favorite sheriff, Cobb Vanth, but now Marshal Vanth, apparently.
The Boba Fett wannabe.
Joke, hindi joke. Where he stumbles upon a group of Pykes doing a drug deal.
What are they called? Are they called spice runners or drug pushers?
Spice Runners.
Spice
was-
runners. I think that's the in-universe name for it. Spice
We
runners.
call them fishes. Because
They look like
without the
fish.
mask, they don't look intimidating at all. I don't
That's
know
true.
how they pull it off. Like
They
yes!
look like eels.
Yeah.
They
Yes,
look like
yes,
eels.
They look more intimidating in the Clone Wars. This is actually not the first time we see them in live action. We saw them in Solo.
Solo.
Did it? Yeah, Solo. I think they look the same in Solo. They didn't
Yeah.
really change that much.
So saving
Yeah,
up on
still weird.
future department saving up on money. I see.
Yeah, there's not really much that happened in this scene. Yeah.
And then we are
Yeah.
greeted by Mando in his ship traveling to a lush green planet. I'm just reading off our script. He lands to find R2D2 and asks him to bring him to Grogu. And we see all these,
Yes.
what do you call them?
This droid thing.
Androids. The white and blue color scheme of the worker droids matches R2's. So the thing,
Ah, yeah.
some of the YouTubers saying that it was a hive mind with R2 actually basically commanding all
With
those.
R2.
Oh, so that's why he
Oh.
shut down.
That
'Cause he was
explains the whole
controlling
bench
the
thing.
spider. Yeah, speaking of, the main highlight of this scene is R2D2.
It
Was I
is.
the only one who got really giddy when they started showing that antenna
I did.
and slightly panning it downwards? For some
Mark-
reason, I felt giddy on that scene because I didn't expect that. I didn't really like R2 much in the sequel trilogy, but for this one, it hit
Yeah.
differently for me this time around.
When the camera panned down and you saw the tip of the antenna thingy, if you were a legit fan,
You didn't recognize.
if you were a legit fan, you would have.
Oh my
Right?
god!
Right? And I was like, Who could this be?
Yeah, well, to be honest, the only reason I recognized that antenna because I had the sideshow figure of R2D2. It also had that antenna. I kind of recognized that part. That's so fun. So after that, we see Luke and Grogu meditating and talking about the Force. Then we also see them lifting some frogs around. So this is actually the first time we see Grogu using the Force. So that's something new to
So
see here
he
in
forced.
this
Yeah.
universe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Force choke. Then yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Audience in the
your
comments
face
already,
use of the
like,
Force.
pestering Justin.
Sorry, my bad.
Force choke and the
Yeah, but,
metal ball.
I think
thing.
really something new to see Grogu using the Force in a non-stressful situation. So I guess
Yeah.
his power is really growing now. It's kind of unusual because they were saying before that Ben is the first student of Luke, but you could see here that Luke's teaching Grogu. So is there a technicality going on there or something? I don't know.
How do you guys
Here.
feel about Luke going off with the multiple frogs thing?
For me, it feels really great because again, we're gonna bring in we're gonna bring in the sequels here a little bit because they didn't really show much in the sequels, right? So, and this is a version of Luke that's been like looming around in my mind. This is like bringing Legends Luke into canon because in Legends there's always an emphasis that when Luke is fighting someone or when Luke is like using the Force, it's always only just a fraction of his power.
Yeah.
So this is really something nice to see.
For me, I was just really caught up in the moment. I don't really remember what I felt. I was just dumbstruck seeing Luke Skywalker, and they did a really good job of putting in Luke's face there. I think they got that DeepFake guy who
it's
edited
that
the
guy.
Mandalorian episode.
Yeah,
I think they hired him to do the
they hired
deepfake for this season here. Yeah, so that's really good. They really improved on that one. Yeah, for me, it was a good thing that they included Luke. But yeah, I could see the point that somewhat it diminishes the impact of the final episode of The Mandalorian because we're currently just getting Luke in almost every episode now. So kind of have a diminishing returns effect on that.
I was wondering if the Yoda version of that was the X-wing, right? Dagobah. Showing off and lifting the entire ship. That was my frame of mind when I was watching this. Like, that's it, frogs. That's it. Of course, I think.
Well, the frogs were significant to Grogu, so I guess.
Yeah. You could actually see Grogu's face is like, all the frogs I can eat.
If it was me, if it was me, and I had a tinge of the dark side power, but I would have, I don't know, like broken a tree or like raised a boulder. But it's Luke. Everybody loves Luke.
So the next scene that we have, Luke asks Grogu about home, and this brings us to a flashback to none other than the Jedi Purge. So exciting! What do you guys think of that Clone Wars callback? Yeah, it was obviously I'm a big fan of the 501st, so seeing all those boys there again, really was so much hype.
Okay, so
it's not obvious.
So speculations like who are those three Jedi?
The one in the middle could possibly be Cin Drallig. Or Cin Drallig. Or I don't know. Cin Drallig in the prequels was Nick Gillard. If you guys just a fun fact.
Stunt director.
Nick Gillard was a stunt coordinator. I remember there's a deleted, I'm not sure if it's a deleted scene or a concept art. And there's also some promo pictures of Nick Gillard cameoing as a Jedi. And he also made an appearance in the Clone Wars in season 6.
He was also in the episode 3 game back when back in PS2.
Yeah, he was a boss fight.
He was Cin Drallig there.
Yeah, he was a boss fight. In season 6.
One of the most badass bosses in that game.
What's his story?
So his story is, since he is the stunt coordinator for the prequels.
He's a dojo master.
Yeah, he's a dojo master.
He trains the Jedi for combat.
Yeah, that's his specialty.
Combat master.
Yes.
And the only counterpoint to that theory that's Cin Drallig is, you could remember in episode 3 in one of the holo recordings that Obi-Wan was watching.
Oh yeah.
Anakin was fighting Cin Drallig there.
Yeah, you could briefly.
And I think Anakin killed Cin Drallig there, so it could be not Cin Drallig this time around because Anakin killed him. Yeah, probably another Jedi with a ponytail. I don't know.
But the other two, though, I couldn't see who
I
the
think
other
I
two
read
were.
somewhere that the guy on the left was Revan.
Oh,
Byron!
Mark,
You're mixing
Byron!
up timelines.
I don't think.
Newsflash!
I want you,
I was like,
ladies and
I
gentlemen, we
take
are
credit
imagine
for
officially
your
at
that.
old
clickbait.
retcon.
Mark Zero.
We are officially at
Mark
clickbait.
Zero.
Imagine if it was really Revan and Mark's gonna go wild in the next episode.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that hollow video, the CCTV footage of Luke.
So what do you think about the
Anakin.
clones? Are those CGI or practical costumes? Because some people are saying they look like actual
That's what
costumes this time
Unreal
around. Because
gives
remember in
you.
the
That's
prequels, they
what the
just made them all
Unreal Engine
CGI.
gives you, but
It's definitely
yeah, I think
CGI
it's
for me.
CGI too.
Oh, okay.
Definitely CGI. Because
I tried to look at the weathering, and they're quite similar across the clones. So yeah, probably they're CGI.
really be
So
CGI. for
Grogu's
me.
there watching it get killed, but
They still didn't show us how he
right.
got
So
out.
one of those YouTubers
Yeah,
basically
they didn't
said
show.
that the reason why he survived was the clones didn't see him because he was inside R2.
Ah,
Yep.
huh?
Apparently, there
Oh yeah, I've
there
heard
might
of that
be a
theory.
compartment there where you could hide somebody of his size.
Well, you could hide a lightsaber, but not a Grogu. I
No,
don't
but
know.
he was hidden, right? He was
R2
hidden, so somebody probably hid him there
Yeah,
and picked him up after.
Yeah, there was some sort of shadow on top of Grogu.
Yeah.
You can notice that he's inside something.
he was probably in
Probably
one of those
basket.
like antique vases
Which-
in the Jedi
Which
temple.
also means that if he's in the temple, he wasn't there, right? So he couldn't. He
He was.
Oh yeah, I think
And
they
he
made that clear
probably-
before.
Yeah.
Didn't they?
was at like probably would have progressed beyond just where he is now. So the theory is somehow he repressed all of that because of the trauma, and then basically Luke just tapping into what he already has, but he's
Yeah.
blocked.
Luke already mentioned that in the
Mentioned
latter
something
part
about
of
he's
yeah,
just recalling
yeah.
everything, all those stuff.
It's
yeah.
more
Not
of he's
really
remembering.
teaching him. Yeah.
Din Djarin is feeling cozy on his makeshift bench, and we are surprised with Ahsoka standing there.
Another fan favorite.
Played by our very own Rosario Dawson. If you guys don't remember, she made her appearance in Mandalorian season 2, to which they talk about Grogu and his attachment to Din. So thoughts?
I actually found it weird that Ahsoka was very strict about not letting Din see Grogu because if you remember, Ahsoka left the Jedi Order because she didn't believe in all those dogma and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was kind of weird that she suddenly became so strict about all that stuff. But it probably could. I guess it's because of how Anakin turned into a Sith.
I was just about to say that. Thank you.
Or probably she feels guilty that she wasn't able to stop Anakin from falling too attached to Padme during that time. She was consenting to that relationship,
and not just to Padme, also to her. If you can remember, the whole point of the last 4 episodes of season 5 of the Clone Wars was showing that the reason why Anakin was so detached towards the belief of the Jedi was because they did something so bad to Ahsoka that Anakin was like, no, the Jedi are evil from my point of view. So it could also be that perspective that Ahsoka feels guilty of how, towards their whole relationship, there was a really good attachment there of brother and sister.
For me, what I want to know
Mark?
Is how did Ahsoka get there? 1 and 2, like I want to see her ship. Obviously, I'm thinking of the off-camera like reality of things. Like where does she sleep? Where right? Because they were just building that hut. So what are the logistics? Like where does she get water? Where does she? I was thinking those were the details I'm thinking.
Back in was that
So
Tython?
practical.
Was that Tython? She was just sleeping in the desert, so I guess she could sleep in the desert as well. In this planet, I don't know. Oh, was it Tython, the one with the Dianoli
I don't know.
in a Santo?
I forgot the planet. Yeah, they were camping in the forest.
Yeah, she was camping in the forest during that time, so I guess she's fine with sleeping in the forest.
Luke pretty much had a lot more script for this sequence. And people were saying that it's so hard to simulate, like deepfake and your mouth. A lot of his lines were off cam. Like the camera would pan out and you hear the Luke line.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a nice touch because nice cinematography like reference. We don't something that you don't really realize.
Nice work
right?
around that
Just the
limitation.
budget.
because because the
It's not
scene
an in your
where
face. We're trying to work around this limitation that he
the
has.
scene where
Yeah.
he says a whole line where let me tell you about my master. It was the shot was his boots up to Grogu's back, and he was lifting Grogu, right? And then every time you see Luke's full face on the shot is just only if he says one word or two words like Grogu or let me help you remember, and then he looks at Grogu. So that's a really cool
that
cinematography.
The creative
Yeah.
direction there was his lines were meant to be delivered like in a very stable manner. So any
Mm,
so it's very
movements in the face or
very
anything.
zen,
Yeah.
very zen delivery.
Very subtle.
Very very Jedi mastery.
Speaking of that scene, I found it really cute that he was force lifting Grogu and they were walking together.
That was super cute.
It makes you think now what you can
That
do
was
with the
super
force.
It's like a
If you were
Yeah.
to use it on another person that you're attracted to.
Oh my god. We're gonna get
Are we?
we haven't even
R18 here?
started yet and we're gonna get
We're gonna get an
demonetized.
R18
Wouldn't
rating.
you? Wouldn't you?
we won't
Wouldn't
be,
you?
We need to be
Wouldn't you?
family friendly to get
Yeah.
Disney merch.
You had like force vision.
No.
You wouldn't do it. And you had like force touch. You wouldn't do it.
Liar!
Okay.
It's not the
Okay.
Jedi way.
Yeah. Forgo all
I'm kidding.
attachments.
Lies.
No, they're saying
Deception.
that is not attachment. You can
Nice,
be not
deception.
attached and do it.
He was basically just lifting Grogu. Where did you get the whole idea of like
So in the next scene, we have Luke teaching Grogu about balance, and they use the training remote. So they bring back the training remote from the original trilogy. What do you guys think about that?
there
part?
is I am so convinced now that there is more than one training remote in that galaxy because that thing keeps popping up as fan service.
But the last time we saw it was Finn throwing it around the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah,
right?
that was the last
Is
time.
that? I mean, chronologically, that's way in the
There's a
into
limit.
the
I
future.
think there's a
but
limit
yeah.
to fan service. Maybe it's a fan service for every 3 minutes type limit that
Yeah.
if you lean on it too much, I think diminishing returns for something like that. So if I was a filmmaker, I'd
Oh,
be
yeah.
very
I
very
agree.
careful on when to. But I think it worked for this scene.
This scene actually has two fan service moments. So the first one is that training remote. The second one is Grogu jumping around,
Yeah.
similar to how Yoda fights in lightsaber battles. So that's
Yeah.
Ataru.
a style of their race.
And
They-
and
they-
Luke.
yeah.
L-
Ataru.
Oh
there you
my
go.
god, that was
Is
so
that
good.
seventh form?
No idea.
It's Form 4, ladies and
Well,
gentlemen. We
he's
are
light
sorry.
years
It's been a
away
while.
from doing Yoda stuff. I can tell you that. He can't even hold a lightsaber.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah. He's still 50 and Yoda's like
The
900.
training sequence though, Luke was like, let me show you. And it's like, let me show you, Grogu. Starts jumping around like he did in Empire Strikes Back, and that was something.
What about that whole training sequence?
Nothing. It's just that it takes you back to like Empire, and it's really nice how they all like calls it back really nicely without
Oh yeah,
without
with
much.
Luke running
But
with Grogu on
Yeah,
his
what I
without
back.
want
much
to know
glare.
is like
The
how
backpack.
long have they been trained?
Probably months.
And you're fucking
Months
learning how to
months
jump.
after.
Uh-uh.
Again,
Nah,
Luke already
I don't think
mentioned.
once.
Luke already mentioned that it's more. He's not actually teaching Grogu anything. It's more like he's unlocking stuff that Grogu's already learned at the Jedi Temple on Cars. Then returns to Tatooine, and Fennec discusses the playing field. All right, this is where everything just went. This is the part where I just went, fuck. This is a Book of Boba Fett episode.
Book of Boba Fett 5 seconds
Yeah,
within the Mando episode.
I was so engrossed in that first half, and then Fennec Shan shows up with the whole holo table, and I'm like, God damn it, I forgot. This is
I'm
a
sure
Book of Boba Fett show.
I'm sure that's deliberate that they didn't give any lines to Boba Fett. Probably they reacted to some of the harsh comments they got in the
I'm like-
previous episodes. So they tried to tone
So
down
for me,
those
this
lines for
scene is
Boba
pretty
Fett.
much like the parang the Dirty Dozen meeting before the grand fight, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
camera pans around, and then I see Power Rangers. No, no,
The
not you guys.
Mos Vespa
Mos Vespa.
Club.
Not you guys. Him. Okay, fine. Him.
It's actually
Okay.
more of a
Cat.
Not you.
That group actually looked more like a Bad Batch than the Bad Batch.
Yeah. Yeah.
So after that, so that was quite a short scene. And after that,
Yeah.
we have Din going to Mos Pelgos again, and we see Jawas
With a head.
carrying around that great dragon skull they got from season 2. I guess season 2,
I have
right?
one
Yeah,
question
season 2.
there. How
skull.
the fuck
Yeah.
did they get that skull up the Sandcrawler? Are you gonna tell me? Are you gonna tell me there's a force sensitive Jawa?
Dude, it's an old
give me some
futuristic
theories.
galaxy.
Give me some theories.
They have
They have
pulleys.
pulleys,
Where are you
bro.
gonna put that again?
They-
Where?
I don't know, man. They have like a lot of scrap in there.
Sitting at the top of that Sandcrawler.
Who's gonna pull?
Don't they?
I don't know. Probably the peeps from Mos Pelgo.
They know
Like
the
a
Bantas.
Banta.
But what's the significance
Probably
of
the
that scene
peeps
for you
from
guys?
Mos Pelgo.
It's just a heads up to Mandalorian. The callback. He's just trying to pull an MCU where you an Easter egg that's related to the other series, I guess.
But
They're trying to
is
connect everything
is this
together.
the other? But is this the other series? No, I'm just kidding.
So Din tries to convince Cobb to join the fight. Of course, he's gonna get resistance. Of course, like no shared history whatsoever. But what do you guys think?
And they need the reason to extend the episode for 5 more minutes, so there has to be some conflict.
What's the name?
They need to have
What was the
that
name of their
conversation.
village?
Freetown.
Town.
Freetown. From Mos
Freetown,
Pelgo
yeah,
to Freetown.
yeah. I think it was a kind of a moot point to argue about it because we all know they're gonna help Boba Fett in the end. That's why they're included in the episode.
They just needed like a starter
A
scene
drama somewhere
for
there.
the next
Since
scene.
for someone
Let's do
else
a
to
head
show
count. Let's do a
up.
head count,
Yeah.
like who's on board? Okay, so we have Freetown,
Fennec
Fennec
Shand,
Shand, okay,
the
Fennec
bikers,
Shand,
Beckers. Oh, was
the
the
Mos
Vespas?
bikers,
Din,
Black Chrysanthemum,
the Gamorrean
Sure,
guard.
sure.
to Gamorrean guard.
How about the
I guess
mayor
that's
domo?
that. How's the
But
mayor
but
domo
he's
gonna
there,
fight?
meaning I don't know,
The
moral
Pykes.
support. Or
He
whatever,
was
but-
chained up.
But he's there. Oh, he
He was chained up.
I didn't see.
He was chained up.
He'll most likely just be a comic relief in the
Yeah.
final fight. Like
Yeah, because
bumble around,
he kind of did
get
like
shot
a
in some
may
point.
I, and his hands were doing this,
I
and there
didn't
was
see
a
that.
chain.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was
So
chained
it's
up.
So
the Jar
clinking.
Jar,
Yeah.
parang comic relief.
I
But
really
wait,
hated that.
for Freetown, any noteworthy like patent warrior?
The Weequay bartender, do you think he had a stare down with? Oh wait, I'm getting ahead of myself because
Do you guys think
that's gonna happen in the later
Tusken
part.
Revan's
Tusken
Nah.
Asherad head.
Unless they retcon,
Oh,
because Asherad
Tusken.
head happened way before
No,
the
I'm talking
Galactic
about
M.
really the person
No.
who fought Boba.
Didn't she die? Wasn't she lying down in that funeral pyre?
What? I didn't see
Didn't
that
he-
though.
Burn her or something?
She was the only one who had that dark robe, and I saw a dark robed Tusken
Yeah.
Raider lying down on the
I missed
ground.
that.
I don't know.
I
Yeah,
always
yeah.
thought she was alive,
They intentionally made her robe the darkest so you could notice her
but it was a
Yeah.
night scene.
amongst
She could
the
be
group.
distinct.
Our most
Then we
awaited.
see somebody
Sorry.
in the distance walking, gunslinger. The profile.
with a gunslinger
Yeah.
swag.
Small hat.
Yeah, it's none other than Cad Bane, my boy.
Let's
you guys go ahead,
go.
'cause I don't really have a lot to say about.
Cad Bane.
What?
Really? What?
Go.
You
go.
don't? No.
we're not.
You first, just you first, just.
Cad, it was already. I'm not overly surprised.
Because
But
it's a Filoni episode.
It's a Filoni episode, number
Really?
one, and a lot of rumors have been stirring up already about Cad Bane. So it's kind of a established secret, if you may say. But I'm really happy to have seen him in live action, and you really know that shit's about to hit the fan because you've got one of the most badass bounty hunters in the galaxy showing up.
I guess it paid off that I didn't really read a lot of the forecasts before because this scene caught me by surprise. I didn't really expect Cad Bane to show up because he was already in Bad Batch.
Yeah.
And, I didn't really expect them to bring him back again because it's gonna make the universe seem so small that we're bringing the same bounty hunter again, instead of bringing the other ones. Although it was a very welcome surprise though because I really loved Cad Bane from the Clone Wars. Remember, he was one of the bounty hunters who faced off with Obi-Wan and survived. So that's really he's one of the most badass bounty hunters.
What's the Palpatine
really
line?
love that.
The
A surprise to be sure, but a welcome.
yes.
for me, if there's an appearance somewhere, or if there's a merch release somewhere, etc., it just harkens to the fact that this character is gonna show up sooner or later because Disney is making the investment,
Okay. Yeah.
bring this character to front,
Uh-huh.
tell people that hey, there's this character, blah 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 blah. So knowing, and same with Tris, that it's a Filoni episode. He has to pull something off the Filoni bag, and I think that was the most logical, because they need a champion to spearhead the opposition, and I think he's gonna be one of those, but he's not. I don't really see him as a like big villain because you can pay him off, right? They're kind of pale. Did you notice he was kind of pale?
He is.
He's not
He
Clone
was
Wars
super
blue.
pale,
He
bro.
feels like dusty
Yeah.
white.
The way I look at it is because he's about 80 at this point, because he was already old in the Clone Wars, and this one's 40 years later. So I'm guessing he's probably that
And
old
then-
already. I don't know.
Yeah, he's super
That's why
old.
he's pale. Probably as they
I'm not
age,
sure
they
how
go
they
more
did
pale.
the entire thing. Was it entire CGI or was there some practical animatronic, like animatronic masks or something like that?
Animatronics.
Because what if you just like it was just a matter of like squishing
You
it
squish it.
to make it
I saw
Squishing
that
it.
video that's posted in Facebook. You
Um,
have to switch it.
So I'm not sure. Maybe it was a limitation of the practical effect, or maybe it was a limitation. I don't think it was a limitation of the actor, because I think that was all animatronic working. It wasn't the guy like flexing his mouth to.
Yeah.
No, because if you remember, this is not the first time we were seeing a Duros in live action. We actually saw one in the original trilogy, so probably they're just basing it off of that, whatever they used
I mean,
back then.
the look, the look.
They're just
itself.
rehashing it here.
But-
The look of a Duros in live action.
Probably.
Yeah. I actually have to look at that again, because I remember we had a Duros in the cantina scene.
And the
Yeah.
teeth, though, the teeth look really different.
Yeah, it looks. Yeah, I actually noticed the teeth.
Yeah.
It looked kind of
It looked
weird.
But the
weird.
voice,
Very sharp.
Sharp.
Like they really made an effort to make
The voice
yeah,
too
the
was
voice
I think it
different.
was
more-
the same
The voice
guy.
was a
Yeah,
bit
it was
it's
different.
the
Really?
same.
the same guy. Yeah.
It looked
the same guy.
apparently okay.
Same guy.
It sounded different for me.
For me, he
Sounded
captured it.
Yeah,
Like,
same guy.
the menacing growling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that's a different guy, you
That was
did
a nice
a
impression.
good
Job.
job
That was
on
a
that.
different guy,
Yeah.
but for me, that captured it. But again, all of the other stuff, like I mean, you could have gotten
just
a
jarring,
wider
yeah.
brim hat. I mean, like how much would it have cost you? So I want to question.
Yeah.
Why did they make those like creative freedom decisions? You know, people are gonna compare him against like the earlier version. So and it was just a hat.
Yeah.
Could have like was it them literally holding back na? We're not gonna give you 100% Cad Bane. We're just gonna give you the idealized real life version.
So they have to make it slightly more different to make you buy the next Cad Bane figure that they release based on this TV series. I don't know.
And
Disney,
Probably-
that
yeah,
was-
I could
Disney,
agree with
was,
that.
I'm gonna buy both,
Disney
though.
Basically, just saying he hates your
I'm gonna buy both
strategy.
Disney.
But
I'm gonna buy.
I would have to agree with Mark.
I'm actually looking
Sure.
forward to the Hot Toys figure.
Is there a Hot Toys figure for Cad Bane?
No, I mean for sure, like an release one.
Oh
soon.
yeah. Okay. But I do agree with the last thing that Mark said, though, that it was like it's more of translating it into, because you could remember the Clone Wars have unrealistic proportions because it's animated. It's more of translating it into the real world. So
Yeah, if you remember, Count Dooku was also elongated.
yeah, he was.
Okay, so yeah, the moment Bane showed up, I already thought that Cobb Vanth's gonna die here or get shot.
But
Definitely,
did
because
he,
Cad
though?
Bane has killer instincts. Well, yeah, well, definitely
It was a
didn't die. But
shoulder shot. Yeah.
and if you turned on the subtitles after Cobb Vanth falls down, you could hear the villagers saying "Get a medic" or something like that.
Oh,
So definitely he's still alive.
Yeah. Get him in,
Yeah,
and they also pulled out like a patch,
Yeah.
like
How do you
an
guys spot
ear
this shit?
patch that you put younger
Watch
eyes. I don't.
Well, actually, to be fair, I only caught it in the second time I watched it.
They weren't as frantic as, like, usually when somebody dies in a western, people just like stand around the dead guy, but they were tending to him. They pulled out
Tending
the
to
ear
him.
patch.
Like,
How about
nobody
the deputy?
cared for the shit for the assistant.
How about the deputy?
Yeah, nobody cared for the deputy.
Nah, he did.
He did. He did.
He's dead. This one, because
But the guy was a dick.
I really hated that
The guy
guy.
was a dick.
He was.
He played his
It
role.
was.
If you rewatch the scene, it was actually the deputy who started the shots. He tried to draw his
He
blaster.
pulled out.
That's why
He pulled
Cad
out
Bane
first.
decided to shoot Cobb Vanth and
How
the
did he-
deputy.
How did he get off 2 shots?
Duros instincts, probably.
What's the profile of
That's why he
what's the profile of the
Years.
race? Like,
I'm not familiar.
Nothing remarkable. Because we also had the Duros in Battlefront 2.
oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
In the
Yeah.
what's his name? Okay, so the next scene, we have the Pykes bombing the sanctuary of what's it? Garsa Fwip.
I was simping for that.
Well,
For that
did you-
Twi'lek
did
girl
you
so
guys
bad.
notice the scar on Miss
Really?
Reed?
On her?
Yeah. I'll flash it here sa video. But
That's your actual.
and in character. Wait, she had a recent interview, I think with Tider or something like that, where the reporter was basically asking her, "But how do you feel about her death?" Et cetera. She basically confirmed during that interview that the character is dead, and that she talked about the scar.
Oh,
There's something about that scar
Thought
because
you-
it was added. It was the first time it was shown, but
she was just right in front of the Camtone when it
She was in
exploded.
front
You know
of
who's
the.
not dead?
Yeah.
you know who's
Is
not
that-
dead? Who wasn't there
Who?
when the camera was panning around?
Ah.
Max wasn't there.
The. Who's Max?
Max Rebo.
What?
Oh, Max Rebo. Okay,
Ano
okay.
to?
Tristan cancelled.
Max Rebo. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We're gonna have to replace Tristan in the next episode.
I'm sorry. Max
He wasn't
Rebo.
there.
Oh my god. Sorry.
It was his day off.
There.
He actually,
Somebody probably. The Pikes probably like
He's-
went to his apartment and be like, "Don't go
Max
to work today."
supposedly died in Return of the Jedi too,
Lucky
right?
guy.
Yeah.
when Jabba's sail barge crashed, he was
Or he
supposed to have
probably
died.
called in sick. Like, you know what, Miss Beals, I'm not gonna make it. I've got the flu.
I need to make it to the next season.
I got the sore
Another
throat
cameo.
coming down. I can't
The
sing.
summer march.
That scene though, super cliche. Super cliche. That scene. I've seen that in a lot of TV series, movies.
It may be
Super
cliche, but I
cliche.
actually didn't expect that they would just kill off all those characters because they seem to be very
I
important
think this
ones in the beginning of
It's
the
a mob
season.
hit to raise the stakes, right? So I think that's
Yeah.
that's trying to build up
Probably.
the.
So in the final scene, we have Grogu making choose between the lightsaber and the Beskar
Let's have a show of
chainmail.
hands, and you can't choose both. Who votes chainmail?
No copying. Chainmail.
Chainmail.
See?
Okay,
Yeah.
done.
'Cause
3 out of 3.
why would they make that mini cockpit behind the N1 and not have
Wait,
Grogu
before
sit
you answer
inside
that, why not the lightsaber?
Oh, okay. Justin, you go first. I'm still gathering my
Mga
thoughts. on
kopya
this.
lang.
He can't choose both.
Mangungopia lang yan.
If Grogu can't choose both, then definitely the chainmail. Because they created
Wait,
that
wait,
cockpit
why not?
and
Why not the lightsaber first?
specifically
Why not the
Grogu.
lightsaber?
Because he's supposed to be with the Mandalorian in the next season. That's why they created that cockpit. So I don't really see him choosing to be a Jedi, unless unless Luke gives that lightsaber to him and still lets him go. I don't know.
On my side, it's more of if you've been following the sequel comics, so the Rise of Kylo Ren and stuff like that. There really isn't, there's a few comic panels of Luke's students, and you don't really see any hint of Grogu or anything in that storyline. And there are also some I'm not sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but there are some hints in the books that the first student that Luke ever took in was Ben.
In
It
the
wasn't
comics,
Grogu.
yes.
So yeah, in the comics, it was Ben, because Ahsoka made like Luke made a really good point in the last part. Like, if you will be the first,
Wait,
if
sorry.
ever.
What's your point? So you're saying it's not the lightsaber because it would break canon?
It's not the lightsaber because I think Grogu knows the path of the Jedi leads to trauma and pain and suffering. So he's just, I'd prefer to have a daddy. And I think he would just go back to Mando.
For me, I don't think it's the
Mhm.
lightsaber because I don't think he appreciates the. I don't.
Yeah. I love
It's a
how he's
nice
still
I don't.
blade.
thinking
I don't think he
the
appreciates the real value of it at this point. One, he saw basically his last vision or of a lightsaber before he repressed it was people getting massacred, right? So I think there's
Yeah,
PTSD surrounding that. Um,
trauma around it.
he
Yeah, makes
hasn't.
sense.
yeah.
There's really no value utility for him because he can't wield it. And if he can't wield it, it's basically something that is useless at this point. There's no physical or emotional attachment to it whatsoever.
There's an emotional baggage attached to the idea of the lightsaber.
Plus, I want
Yeah.
to know like how the hell did Luke get Yoda's lightsaber? Like, did he poke around
Yes.
the hut scavenging for shit while this guy?
It's actually good that you brought it
That's
up because that was a subtle retcon. So if you recall
that's a
in the
yes.
latest
It's a
Vader
super
comic,
red font. Yes.
Palpatine was holding
Ooh.
specific lightsaber.
Not Palpatine,
Oh,
his
yeah,
assistant,
but in
He was
case they
holding
had
Yoda's
the
Yoda's
lightsaber.
blue guy.
lightsaber,
Yeah.
and he was
So
because
in
they had that order to destroy all lightsabers that they got from the
Oh yeah,
Jedi
yeah,
yeah
yeah.
Temple, and one of those lightsabers
yeah yeah
was Yoda's lightsaber. So they destroyed Yoda's lightsaber in that comic.
yeah.
So it's kind of weird
So I
that
think
it's
I'm not sure
showing
if
up
it's
again.
volume one or volume two of Darth Vader's comic. So basically,
It's volume one
that
of the
that
2021. Yeah.
okay. So yeah, volume one. So in that first issue, you could see like you could see this is just moments after like the sacking of the Jedi Temple.
Yep.
You could the Palpatine's secretary, I don't know, secretary or the guy with the horns or something, the blue guy. He's basically holding Yoda's lightsaber and making a General Hux speech,
Mhm.
saying like the this ends the tyranny of the Jedi, and then
Yeah.
puts it in
Style.
a
Fire pit or something.
a fire pit, and the lightsabers explode. So
It's like they're
I agree
harvesting the
because
kyber crystals for the Death Star. Well,
yeah.
that was somewhat hinted. But yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know how that thing got in there. Maybe it's just another
definitely a
fan
retcon.
So
service.
maybe
Definitely a
Luke was
retcon.
lying. It really wasn't Luke Yoda's lightsaber.
Lightsaber.
Just a lookalike.
It's a desperate guy
Come on, man.
looking
Come
for
on.
his first student. Like,
Another explanation is probably Yoda had two lightsabers because in episode 2 he had a different lightsaber from episode 3. There was a subtle difference. Probably Yoda had two. I don't know.
It's possible because
Yoda
Jedi
had
use their
a-
lightsabers a lot.
But nah, definitely a retcon, I think.
That scene looked cool though. He pulls out the lights. This is my master's lightsaber. Like because
Another fancy
that's a
Easter egg.
yeah probably
and
another
one
fan service Easter egg.
one Easter egg that our friend from Taiwan Garrison, Alexandra, French guy who's based in Taiwan, he basically posted something about it's actually a Chinese tradition what Luke
Yeah.
did with the saber here and the chainmail here. He
saw
said
that.
it was, I don't know how you pronounce this, just but Zhao Zhuazhu. Sorry for our Chinese fans, but I'll just pronounce it as I think it is pronounced, like Zhaozhu. It's a Chinese ritual held at a child's first birthday party when the child is 1 year old by Chinese lunar calendar. The parents put various objects before the child. Parents will often put objects that symbolize career choices or personality traits. The child's choice is used to forecast its future. No, it's just funny that like Lunar New Year, the bamboo, this Zhaozhu,
Yeah.
so many references, right?
External references. Yeah.
I think they kind of perfectly timed it. They perfectly timed the episode because Chinese New Year was like
So you're saying they're sacrificing story development for references, external references.
for selling more to
Something like
China. Yeah, because they're desperate. They're really desperate. Diba? Sequel trilogy bombed there.
because they're not earning anything in China.
So
No, I don't know. The personal highlights. Go, Mark.
okay.
You first.
What I liked. Wait, me compose my thought. there's really nothing I
Okay.
liked. The joke.
Oh my god.
Hater.
Boba Fett. 3 seconds of Boba Fett. The best part from
3 seconds of Boba Fett.
I'll just stick to one, I guess. I really, I'm having a hard time.
Why
I'm
is
having
it
a
so
hard time.
hard for you to say? Are you?
Okay,
Do you
for
really?
me-
Did you really not like the episode?
For me, it was Cad Bane had hands down. Even though I didn't really expect him to show up, it was nice to see Cad Bane in live action. He's one of the best characters in the Clone Wars, so it was nice getting to see him in live action. I guess. Yep, that's the best part for me. That's the one and only highlight for
Okay,
me in this
for
episode.
me, it would have to be that line of Ahsoka telling Luke, like referencing about like just like your dad.
Yeah,
Ah, okay, yeah.
you're
Just
so
like your
much, so
father.
much like your father.
Much like your father.
That was the feels.
Just being
That was the
critical,
feels.
critical of
That
Grogu.
was the feels for me. Like it connected
Mm.
all of these different, like all of these different worlds, different
Yeah.
franchises within the Star Wars universe, and then in that particular moment, you basically have like the handshake or like the bro fist of the Filoni world, bro fisting with the rest of the.
It actually revived the heartbreak of Ahsoka and Anakin breaking up. So,
Yeah.
that was a
It was a
good
loaded.
scene
It was
to
a
me.
loaded. It was a loaded statement for sure, and I can only imagine what she's thinking saying that.
I have like 3 or more
It's time to simp.
personal highlights
I know,
that I really
I know
love.
what one of them is.
Yeah.
It's in your profile picture.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, Luke showing back up. But the thing I love most about this is I do agree with Justin when he said that this episode kind of this episode kind of diminished the finale of Mando season 2, but we'll get to that in a bit. But the thing I love most about this is um it's so poetic in a sense that if you go back to like Vader saying, the circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but to learn. No, I am the master. Because the original trilogy is about Luke becoming the hero, right? And you see him so different. This is a different version of Luke that everybody's been clamoring for.
Mhm.
Basically the Jedi Master.
Mhm.
He's changed so much in the years between Empire and Return of the Jedi, and you don't see that change much in Return of the Jedi because he basically just goes and deals with Vader and the end of the Empire and everything like that. But here we get a glimpse of what
Luke in his peak.
Luke at his peak, which we really didn't we didn't get.
You
in the
already saw
sequels.
that in season ender of season.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
this is it's Luke in his Jedi Master peak, like embracing the way of the Jedi, trying to rebuild the order, etc., etc. Because
You get to have a peek into his psyche
If
during
I,
this
if, I,
time.
if I may add
Like how
something,
he
Yeah.
the
thinks,
ultimate, I think maybe the ultimate point of somebody like that is when he becomes a teacher. I think that's the highest
Yeah.
level of
Yes.
thing you can achieve because you're passing on.
What you
So
have
it's not
learned.
the show force in season ending.
Yeah.
Ender,
Yes.
but
more of the
Because
more of the wisdom that he has now.
that was Legends Luke. That was Luke in Legends.
Mhm.
He was ultimately just teaching everybody. He, if there was conflict, he would avoid conflict. He would tell
you
students to
didn't
avoid
avoid
conflict.
that one single
Stuff
guy.
like that. Yeah. But still though, that's peak Jedi Master Luke for me, and it's nice to see that aspect. And then of course Order 66, a throwback to Order 66.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
was-
that. Yeah,
That was
that's a personal
really
highlight for me too. Yeah.
yeah. It was, and I think no one else could have ever pulled that off except for Filoni. So thank you for that. I think if it was other people who did it, like Peyton or Bryce or whatever, it wouldn't be as flawless as we would have seen it. And then, of course, lastly, Cad Bane, because same thing with Mark with the whole Ahsoka line. You get this whole sense that okay, everything is now cohesive as it should be. So, yeah, I guess that's my personal highlights.
What are the personal lowlights
All right,
for you guys?
all right. Let me just get ready.
Crack my knuckles.
Let me just
Just a bit.
crack some bones.
Where do I begin? Where?
I love how all three of us
I
just
really thought you
react-
guys loved it.
because I don't really have a
I
lot
really,
of feedback.
I really thought you guys loved it. So I thought I was gonna be like
I loved
the
it.
negative guy here.
Okay,
No, man, I have
first,
a lot of negative things to say about this episode.
I'll go first since it seems like
Okay, okay.
I didn't really hate it as much as you guys, so I'll just go first. So the only low light for me here is again we only get 3 seconds of Boba Fett. Actually felt awkward seeing Boba Fett just standing here and doing nothing. I felt awkward for Tamora Morrison.
Yeah, for that scene,
Yeah.
Just,
why is Fennec the one saying it? He could have said the same line. It would have been perfect for that scene.
Yeah.
because if you're the boss, you have someone else to do the presenting for you. So I guess it makes sense. But yeah, it felt really awkward having Tem just standing there.
Boba Fett in the corporate applying the practical settings of
felt
corporate.
bad just to see him doing nothing. But yeah, that's the only low light for me for this episode. So yeah, on to you guys.
Cad Bane, not the appearance, but the actual appearance of Cad Bane, look wise, I really it destroyed the moment for me to
Oh,
see the hat.
really?
Well, it did. I don't hate the guy, or I don't hate the scene.
You did like the small hat.
For me, it could have
Size
they could have
matters. Now.
perfect. If it was a matter of like $200 spending more for that wide brim hat, I'd happily, if they did a Kickstarter for that, I'd happily donate $300 just so he would have gotten the right size hat for his right size brain or head. So that's the stickler for me.
Alright.
Number one.
I really think it was a merchandising decision. They had to sell more merch, so they had to make more versions of
Sure,
Cad
okay.
Bane.
Number two, I really feel that they're gonna abuse Luke, and it's gonna not have that same payoff. I'm scared as hell because his impact for the season ender of season 2, for me that was prime Luke for me. It's not the teacher Luke. I think it's the combat Luke plowing through like impossible opposition. That for me is Luke. Every time I see him
Mhm.
not doing that, there's diminishing return for me. Um, I don't want him to be always there or tappable to like resuscitate a scene. Let's reserve him for the times that really matter, or like when
Big moments.
very big moments.
Yeah.
Because after Luke, there's nobody else, man. There is nobody else after Luke.
Yeah.
That's what
Mark Hamill's the biggest name in the
I'm
That
Star
so
you
Wars
haven't
scared
universe.
seen
Yeah.
that if we get if we get tired of seeing Luke, that's the end of the franchise for me. That's the end of the franchise for me. That's scary. That's scary as a fan. If we get used to him, that he's not gonna have that same aura of mystique and all of that.
Eminence.
Yes,
Yeah, like Iron Man and Robert Downey
I can't
Jr.
relate because I'm a one man fandom man. But
Oh,
snap!
please.
We have a hater here. Oh my god.
Please.
Cancelled.
Uh,
We have an
my
MCU hater in the house.
I can't believe we actually just flawlessly inserted that joke in there.
No, but yeah, so that's my fear, and because of that, I think they shouldn't lean on Luke much. Can be used, but
I
very
agree.
very sparingly, because there's nobody else after him. Nobody's gonna come
Yeah.
close to him. Not even Fett. Well, at this point,
That's a good
nobody
point.
Fett. Nobody's gonna come close to him. So let's not overuse him.
Dave Filoni directing this episode is both a good thing and a bad thing because that's number one. It's a good thing because we were able to see everything that basically what a fan wanted. When you hear Dave Filoni, Clone Wars, you got Ahsoka, you got the clones, you got Cad Bane, which is that's the good part of Dave Filoni directing this episode. The second part is the bad thing about this is that Dave Filoni is really you kind of see in this episode that Dave Filoni is a Clone Wars original trilogy guy, that he doesn't know how to move on from that era of Star Wars compared to the other directors that really showed us a real cohesive episode, that it starts as a Western, it ends as a Western. The only yeah, right, because they basically, this episode is basically like chopped off into different bits and pieces that there is no solid cohesion Like, remember, I told you guys a while ago that the moment you see that scene where Din comes back to Tatooine and you see Fennec and the Vespa and the Vespa Rangers and everything, your mind goes, fuck, this is a Book of Boba Fett show. Because you were introduced in the first half of the show of something that you wouldn't normally, you would think wouldn't see in a Book of Boba Fett show, rather in The Mandalorian or in the Clone Wars or whatever.
So you mean
So
Dave Filoni has a tendency to overdo the Easter eggs?
that's his comfort zone, overusing Luke, overusing materials from the Clone Wars
Clone
and
Wars
stuff like
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's their comfort zone, which could really hurt the franchise a lot. Same thing with what Mark said, that if we use Luke so much, it could probably diminish his character a lot more in the franchise. So
Mhm.
that's another negative thing. And again, um, what else? I think that's the only thing that I really didn't like about this episode is that it wasn't cohesive enough. And it's I don't know what the creative process was for this episode, because you have episode 5 where you showed it was an hour's worth of Mando when the last 4 episodes were already underwhelming. So I would have expected Disney to have, all right, we gave them one really great episode of the Book of Boba Fett without Boba. So I think we should use the last 2 episodes to really build up Boba Fett. But no, they went episode 6 and gave us the same thing from the previous episode. They're basically killing the show, killing the character. So that I think was the really bad thing that I could take away from this. And you only have one more episode. You can't just cram that into one episode. So
Fearless.
all right.
Podcast.
At this point, I don't really know what's gonna go.
You have to
What's
give
gonna
it
happen
one,
here?
man.
If you guys could remember that deleted scene from the lost episodes of the Clone Wars explaining Boba's dent on the helmet, we might get that again. So that might finally be canon. But this time,
Somebody dies.
somebody dies. Yes.
Well,
Who's
you're
that somebody?
We might
forgetting. You're
get that.
forgetting too that Fennec and Bane actually had a scene in Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they're gonna be the one-on-one fight for the next
Who's
one.
gonna fight
Yeah.
Bane to the death? Is it Fennec or Fett?
If they use Fennec, that's hats off.
The Book
Sorry.
of Fennec.
This is probably yeah. It has to be Boba. It has to be Boba. If you're not gonna give it to Boba, then why the hell did you make the show in the first place?
To sell more merch.
We still have a few more slots in the whole Seven Samurai Magnificent Seven lineup.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna count the Vesper Rangers. We might get a few more bounty hunters. Last minute bounty hunters. Somebody's gonna show up. Because I'm not shitting on the Freetown people, but those guys don't know shit how to fight.
Cancelled! Because it's the last episode and because I think the stakes to go higher, I think this guy is gonna show up.
He died. he got shot down.
Hello?
Never say die, bro. No,
He got
never
shot
say
down.
die.
And,
I think we're gonna see some bounty hunters from OT, but I think they're gonna be fighting for the Pykes. I don't think
Pykes.
there's any way that they're gonna side with Fett, considering all of the drama that happened in War of the Bounty Hunters. I think the Pykes have a lot deeper pockets, right? So I think
exactly.
they're just gonna get paid,
Yeah.
and the way to insert a character like a Bosk or like a Dengar, you just pay them off. That's their motivation. You don't need to build a side story to explain why they're siding with Fett.
Yeah.
There's no time for that. So I think they're gonna be joining the fight with the Pykes. That raises the stakes because right now Pykes are fucking fishes
Mhm.
in the desert with other than Cad Bane. They're not a force. I mean, they have the number probably, but they're not a force. You don't fear them. It's Cad Bane
That's right.
with a couple of OT bounty hunters to beef up the crew. For the side of Pet, I have no idea who's gonna show up. I hope Luke doesn't show up. I hope Grogu
Yeah.
doesn't show up. I hope Ahsoka doesn't show up. I hope we don't see a Han Solo appearance too. But
Oh right.
They're gonna put too many
Right.
characters in.
that's it.
Yeah. Han and
Yeah.
Chewie. I kind of feel like this is how the last episode's gonna play out. Boba Fett's like why are you laughing?
What? Wait, what?
Justin's already like trying to see if this is a joke or not. But I feel like it's gonna be like Boba Fett just saying, they're basically losing and everything like that.
I'm too old
And
for this
telling
shit.
Fennec Shan, yeah, like telling Fennec Shan, like just pay them, man, pay them, or we'll pay double just to stop this shit.
So for
Probably
me, if
something
you,
like that.
so yeah, you guys were saying they're against overwhelming odds and they needed more muscle to fight against the Pykes. So if you recall when Din Djarin was testing out the N1 speeder and he was overspeeding on top of Tatooine, do you remember who he encountered over there?
Papa.
We might see the New
The Republic?
Republic.
The New
Because why would they be there? Because Tatooine's in the Outer Rim, and they're just rebuilding Chandrila in the main core.
They're
So you'd wonder why would there be X-wing starfighters going over Tatooine specifically, right?
I think
So they might be following whatever the Pikes were doing. Probably they were investigating that syndicate. So who knows? That's my theory for the
that
next
could
episode.
be a possibility. Yeah, that could be a possibility.
Like they're about to die, and then we see these X-wings going and
Going
shooting all of those Pikes.
so
down.
basically they're gonna pull off episode 9. They're just people.
They're just people.
They're just people.
And then we're gonna see the ghost coming.
Yeah. Oh my god.
That's another Dave Filoni reference.
If the go Oh, speaking
I don't know.
of
So probably we'll get the New Republic, and it's a connection to the New Republic TV series because they're spreading rumors that it was cancelled. So probably this one's a big surprise.
Rangers
They're
of the
still going-
Republic.
Yeah, Rangers of the Republic, and
Yeah.
I don't know, probably.
I thought
Because
it
why
was
would there be
official.
X-wings atop of Tatooine? Yeah.
I think it's more of a patrol run for me. Like they patrol like the outer rim sectors and stuff like that because we've seen them in the Spider episode. Saying that episode still gives me chills. So probably
I don't know. Probably, yeah. Probably it's nothing. But
we
yeah,
don't know. At
it's a
this point, we just
possibility. Yeah.
really don't know what's gonna happen.
It's up
We
in
don't.
the air. Yeah.
We really have no idea where this whole Book of Boba Fett thing is going. Because in Mando, everything just where it's gonna
Do you,
come off to.
do you guys have any fearless predictions on who's gonna die?
Boba.
I don't think he's gonna die. I think it's Cad Bane who's gonna die.
Cad Bane.
To be honest, it'll be Cad Bane.
Cad Bane.
He has to pay for shooting down Cobb Vanth.
Oh right, we didn't talk about if Cobb Vanth's gonna come back.
Alive.
He is for sure. He's
Yeah.
alive.
Justin mentioned something about the bartender.
Oh, the weak way. Yeah.
Yeah,
weak way
yeah.
bartender.
I feel like this bartender is like he's just like gonna pick up a blaster, and it turns out he's super skilled in it and shooting
He
everybody
tried
up.
to stare down Cad Bane while
Yeah,
Cad Bane was
yeah,
walking away.
that moment, right? So I feel
Yeah,
like there's
yeah.
going to be that moment where he's just
Yeah.
like shooting everybody up, and everyone's like, "What the
He gets
fuck?"
the
That's for my
What do
boss.
you call the Clone Wars gun? The rotary.
The Z6.
He's gonna get up there.
Yeah, the Z6.
The minigun.
They just you inserted
Hey.
something here. Very intriguing. Like who will come out on top? Din or
Yeah,
Fett
who do you
Cad
think?
Bane?
Well, for me, it's just simple. It has to be Boba Fett. This is the book of Boba Fett. Come on.
Wait, define
Yeah.
coming out on top.
Like he's gonna win it all. Like he's gonna win the battle.
Be the
Like,
hero,
kill the
basically.
Pikes.
Be the hero for the
Defeat.
final
Yeah,
battle.
be the hero for everyone. Yeah, he's gonna be the main center of attention.
my hopes up,
in the
bro.
next episode, in the finale.
Don't get my hopes up.
It's the book of Boba Fett. Have hope.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Justin. With everything that's happened, I still think there's going to be a really good like redemption shit for Boba this next week.
He has to do something good because if not, then It's just a fail for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
I think
It's a big fail. It'll be a
I think
big
I
fail.
agree.
Deceased.
I think the way he comes out on top he has a price to pay, and I
Hero's death.
correct. So I think that's the he was
Yep.
famous in death. He sold tons
Gonna
of shit
cash in.
of merch in death. So I
Gonna
really
do it again.
yes. So I think he's beyond death, and I think that's something that not a lot of people will recognize that when you go all in to a character, to a fandom, it really doesn't matter. Like, this is a slice in time. We're forgetting the tons of shit that happened in all other Star Wars.
We're gonna get a Boba Force ghost.
Yeah, that's like that's my beef. That's my beef with like, you know, people who are super disappointed and be like, I don't want to buy merch anymore because this version of Boba Fett is like, this version of Boba is like so emasculating and everything like that. But
Then bam, season finale.
you have years worth of Boba content to like, you know, look into, not just the show. So it's just, I mean, I'm still planning on building the costume. You know, people are like shitting on him so much right now, but I think it's unnecessary hate for me.
It's a natural reaction, I think. Like,
Yeah.
you're reading the title, you're expecting something based off that title. What if it wasn't called Book of Boba Fett? What if it was called something else? Would we have the same reaction? Would the same expectations be? Would we hate it so much that 90% of the time it's basically character X versus character Y on screen?
Yeah.
So and maybe it's the, I mean, everybody's got an opinion, I guess, and enjoy what you want to enjoy.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's just it's still Star Wars. It's still part of the media that we watch, and
Or Star Wars more
we're
fun.
still gonna buy merch. I bought merch after the episode aired, so nothing.
Speaking of merch, this guy's gonna get limited edition status as of episode 7. So
Just put in your bids in the comment section.
sir.
or we could give it
I
away.
think we'll close
Mark's gonna give it away.
12 midnight on
Low
Sunday.
serial numbers for your for your reference.
For our whoever's going to be like our 10th follower,
No.
we're gonna give it away. 10 stuck to the
Just make sure to
number
tag 2 of your friends.
For our 100th follower, it's going to be the 501st Jakks Pacific clone. Just
Yung pala, no? I think at some point we'll have to do that. Speaking of new costume,
oh my god, is this it?
Oh, here we go.
Is
Here we go.
this
Here we
the
go.
reveal?
I was gonna say like my new upgraded piece.
Drum roll.
Oh.
Ah, nice. We should have Kiefer wearing it in the next
Why didn't
episode.
you show that in the first part of the
But it's not
podcast?
complete yet, so I'm still waiting on the jetpack and the helmet for Keith.
I thought it was for
It'll be
you.
good.
No. So
You
you're
have
gonna
an-
have a mini me,
Are
actually.
you gonna have an undersuit made for
yes,
him?
yes, yes,
Oh
yes. You're
yeah.
gonna be a mini me.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
case,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
just looking for the
Just-
things, but there's probably some foam guy who can create it for us, right?
Kiefer and Uncle Tristan, let's go.
Yeah. Okay, wrap up na natin to. Tayo na.
All right, let's wrap it up. I got an exam in the
Hey
morning.
guys, so thanks again for bearing with us. We enjoyed this episode so much. I think with all of the lore stuff that happened and a bit of alcohol, we are so juiced with regards to this episode. We can't wait for episode 7.
Keep supporting the podcast. Keep supporting the page, the channel. We are on YouTube and on Spotify.
You want us to discuss? Just leave it in the comment
Yeah,
section.
yeah.
So we could improve the show.
Yeah, if there's anything we want to improve on that we can improve on, guys have any suggestions, go ahead and comment on.
They're very welcome.
Yes, they are very welcome.
Salamat guys.
Thank you.
Tomorrow. I mean next week.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.